Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're gearing up for the IELTS, you've probably spent hours agonizing over arguments and polishing your grammar for the essay section. But today, we're flipping the script. We're introducing a totally different premise. IELTS Task 1, it is absolutely not a traditional essay. It's actually a data reporting algorithm. It is so incredibly frustrating, right? You've got Task 2 down cold. Your arguments are rock solid, your structure is flawless, and your vocabulary is on point. But then, the results come in. It's like you're playing a game where you just don't know the rules. Your overall writing score gets dragged down by Task 1 again. You know there are mistakes happening somewhere, but you just can't spot them. And for a ton of really confident English speakers, that frustration is literally tied to one very specific number: 6.5. It's this notorious score ceiling that plagues so many candidates. But hey, here's the good news. This cap, it doesn't mean your English is bad. Not at all. It's actually just a system conflict. Okay, let's dive into this because the source material brings up a totally fascinating concept. Essentially, you've been trying to run essay writing software on a machine that strictly demands data reporting software. And when you do that, well, you get fatal errors. So in this explainer, we're activating debug mode. We are going to treat your essay as code and your examiner as a merciless compiler. Here is our system diagnostic menu for today. 1. The data reporting algorithm. 2. Task achievement fatal bugs. 3. Grammar and tense errors. 4. Lexical resource glitches. And 5. Compiling clean reports. Starting with Section 1, the data reporting algorithm. This is all about treating the examiner as a strict compiler. Moving right into Section 2, task achievement fatal bugs. These are the structural errors that literally crash your program. All right, bug number 1 is what we call the data dump. This is when you just narrate every single data point in order. Like in 2000, it was 10. In 2005, it increased to 15. Doing this turns you into a human spreadsheet. And trust me, nobody, especially not an IELTS examiner, wants to read a spreadsheet. They are greeting your ability to highlight the main features. If you just dump every number onto the page, it proves you can't filter the signal from the noise, and your task achievement score just plummets. The fix? You've got to group and prioritize only the key features. Then we have bug number 2, the missing overview. This happens when you write an introduction and then boom, you jump straight into body paragraph 1 and then body 2. If you skip that high-level summary, the overview, your task achievement is instantly hard-capped at a band 5. I don't care how brilliant your vocabulary is, you're stuck. It's honestly like shipping an app without a main function. The code simply won't run. The patch for this glitch is adopting the Canonical flow. And this brilliantly illustrates that exact 4-step canonical architecture you need for a perfectly compiling essay. Step 1, introduction. Just paraphrase the prompt. Step 2, the overall section. Give us 2 or 3 big trend headlines with absolutely 0 numbers. Step 3, body A, where you detail the first major feature. And step 4, body B, detailing the second major feature. You just need to lock this flow in. Okay, the third fatal bug for task achievement is isolated descriptions. This is when you describe categories in total silos. You write, category A did this, and then later, category B did that. But wait, the prompt explicitly tells you to make comparisons where relevant. Ignoring that instruction costs you massive points in both task achievement and coherence. The patch here is using explicit comparisons. Actually connect the movements in one sentence. Say something like, while category A rose, category B fell. See how much smoother that is? On to Section 3, grammar and tense errors. Think of these as line-level code failures. So bug number 4 is super persistent. It's using the present tense for past data. Like writing, in 2010, the figure increases. Look, if the chart covers a completed time period that ended in the past, you absolutely must use the simple past tense. Mixing up your tenses for historical data is a textbook band 5 error. It instantly signals to the examiner that your grammatical control is, well, pretty limited. The patch couldn't be simpler. Stick to the simple past. In 2010, the figure rose. Next up is Section 4, lexical resource glitches. These are your vocabulary limitations. Bug number 5 is repetitive verbs. Seriously, if the word increase shows up 5 times in a 150-word report, you're flashing a giant warning sign that your vocabulary is limited. The lexical resource criteria explicitly rewards range and precision. Repetition just screams limited vocab, and it will lock you right out of a band 7. The patch you need is alternating synonyms and noun phrases. Let's look at the core code for doing exactly that. Check out these 4 core trend movements: rise, fall, fluctuate, and stable. You really want to alternate between verb forms and noun phrases. So for a rise, maybe use the verb surged or the noun phrase a climb. For a fall, try plummeted or a drop. If things fluctuate, use oscillated or instability. And for stable data, go with plateaued or no change. Switching these up shows off the exact grammatical and lexical flexibility that examiners are desperately looking for. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is these specific, high-level vocabulary upgrades you can drop in to replace basic words. Instead of saying increased a lot, boom, use band 9 synonyms like surged, rocketed, or witnessed a dramatic climb. And rather than decreased a little, try dipped slightly or saw a marginal decline. These super precise verb-adverb combos and noun phrases, they are exactly the kind of things that push a score into those coveted top bands. But hey, you've got to be careful. Which brings us to bug number 6, extreme adverbs. Saying a figure plummeted dramatically when it only fell by 3%? That is a massive glitch. It's actually a task achievement error because you are fundamentally misrepresenting the data. Accuracy is the absolute core of your score. So the patch is accurate degree matching. If a change is modest, use modest language like decline slightly. Save the heavy hitters like plunged for genuinely steep drops. All right, bug number 7 is incorrect collocations. This happens when you slap together words that just don't belong, creating major friction in your code, like writing "profit soared slowly." Well, soar implies a really rapid dynamic movement, right? So pairing it with slowly is just a complete contradiction. The patch is to rely on natural word pairings. Profits rose steadily, works perfectly. Keep your dramatic verbs for dramatic changes. Finally, we hit Section 5, compiling clean reports. This is all about the final polish. And that brings us to the blind spot dilemma. Just like a programmer staring at their own script for hours, you develop habitual blind spots. It is nearly impossible to manually proofread and catch your own recurring errors because, well, your brain just naturally skips right over them. You already know what you meant to say. So, how do we solve this manual debugging nightmare? The source material suggests activating an AI compiler, something like the analyzer at IELTS Writing Analytics. Tools like this can automatically scan your work for all these fatal structural, grammatical, and lexical bugs. It basically helps you compile a Band 7+ report without having to rely on your own flawed self-editing. Which leaves us with one final thought to wrap up this explainer. IELTS Task 1 isn't magic, okay? It's just a strict system of rules. And now you've got the patches for the 7 fatal errors. So the real question is, are you going to keep writing buggy essays, or are you ready to code clean data reports? Try applying this algorithmic mindset to your very next practice test and just watch your score finally break right through that ceiling.